can I take the flashback,
Yeah.
the key back? Thank you. And can you help me putting this, if you don't mind? We make some, yes, yes. Can you help me doing that?
Excuse me?
Can you help me doing that, or you have asked somebody to do this as the name?
Yeah.
His name tag.
You
But
need
it's okay. Yes.
yeah.
Just yeah, because here they don't help you with anything. I'm just giving the. I think we put them in the same. Well, it doesn't have to be the same order. Maybe Elena, she can see it here. Very true. All right. Okay. Well, it's a small. It stays. It's a very homemade.
हेलो हेलो सुनिया छ हेलो सुनिया छ डिस्प्ले भएन I will sit there. So, should I start now? Hello. So, good evening, everybody. Excellencies, distinguished delegates. So, we are here this evening. The topics of the session is about bringing mountain to the forefront by leveraging the International Year of Mountain 2022. Is it working? Hello? Okay. So, good evening, everybody. Today we are here to discuss on bringing mountains to the forefront for leveraging the International Years of Mountain 2022. So we have very distinguished speaker. I myself, my name is Pem Kandel. I'm the Secretary of the Ministry of Forest and Environment, Government of Nepal. So I'm going to moderate this session today, in this evening. And we have 6 distinguished, very expert panelists. Elena, Deputy Secretary General, World Meteorological Organization; Mark Rossell, Secretary of State of Agriculture and Sustainable Government of Andorra, Claudia Javier, Undersecretary for Foreign Policy, Government of Argentina, Livio, Counselor, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Government of Italy, Nurlan, Special Envoy of the President of the Kyrgyz Republic on mountain issue, Ambassador of Kyrgyz Republic, Government of Kyrgyz Republic. And Gratitude, Director of the Department of Land Resource Conservation, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of Malawi. So these are our special speaker today, and we'll have 1.5 hour time. We'll discuss about the maybe first round. I will speak something about the setting of the environment, why we are organizing this important meeting today, and then panelists, our distinguished panelists, will talk something about. First round, we'll request them to give their remarks about the sustainable mountain development, about the issues and opportunity of the mountain, and what action they are doing in their respective countries, and the impact of climate change, and how we can move forward to take this issue forefront, particularly in the multilateral environmental agreement and climate COP conference. In upcoming conference, we are thinking that mountain issue could be the agenda for upcoming COP28 discourse. So these are the program for today. Then we will conclude the session, and we are limiting the time for every panelist at least 5 minutes. So because time is running out, so I would like to start from my remarks. So Honorable Minister, Excellencies and distinguished delegates, we all are from the mountainous country. At least we know the mountain, the challenge and opportunity of the mountain. We understand that. Therefore, we know about the mountain. Mountain is big land mass of the planet, comprises 22% of the global land, provide environmental goods and services to the almost half of the population live around the downstream, live inside and around the downstream. So we know that. I'm also from the roof of the mountain, the highest peak of the mountain from Nepal. So mountain are also known as the roof of the mountain and water tower of the world. Hotspot of the biodiversity, culture, tradition and language, thus known as the pulse of the planet. Mountains are the pulse of the planet. They are very important for this planet. But mountains are vulnerable due to geographical setting and socioeconomic condition. Climate change has put extra pressure on mountain, threat to the lives and livelihood of local communities, making extreme climate events for frequent and severe. In recent years, climate-induced disasters have been witnessed in the region like glacier, lake outburst, flooding, and landslide, with huge economic and non-economic loss and damage in the mountain region. So, this is very important that mountains are very vulnerable, and climate change has put extra pressure and increased more vulnerability in the mountain region. In this context, UN has declared the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development 2022 is a unique opportunity to catalyze mountain agenda for the global discourse. We have to put this agenda for the global discourse and put priority in the UN system. That is what the objective of the session is about. Considering the urgency of the environmental and climate crisis in mountain region, and this session was how to bring negotiation process, how to bring the mountain to the forefront of international process, in particularly to the plenary discussion of future COP, because in this COP also, mountain is not in the agenda, particularly in the plenary discussion. So we would like to put this agenda into plenary discussion, and our objective is to include at least in upcoming COP28. So this is the matter that we are going to. So how we can put this agenda in forefront? That is the matter of discussion. So I will also consider, it will also consider recommendation committed to stepping up climate action to accelerate the transformative and political momentum toward the inclusive, resilient and sustainable mountain development. So political commitment is very much important to put mountain issue in the agenda, in the priority, in the global discourse, in the UN system. it is my honor to inform that the Nepal is taking a lead in the celebration of International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development together with different partners and stakeholders to highlight the issue of mountain globally. So we are taking the lead. The Mustang advocacy, Mustang means the Trans-Himalaya region. We organize an advocacy summit there to show how climate change has impact to the mountain region, to the Himalaya. So that summit has made the comprehensive declaration for sustainable mountain solution with 6 thematic areas, namely mountain and climate change, mountain economy, mountain biodiversity, mountain culture, mountain women, and mountain lowland interconnection. So these are the agenda we set, and we also discussed this agenda in Aspen, Colorado, 6th Global Mountain Partnership Summit. So many agenda have been included in that declaration also. Nepali delegation participated the Aspen, Colorado, 6th Global Mountain Partnership meeting in the September and suggested to include mountain agenda in multilateral environmental and climate change negotiation process. So that was our agenda, that this partnership should take lead to put this agenda into front. So that is the proposal of Nepal. Here in COP27, Nepal delivered country statement and urged global community to include the mountain agenda in the climate COP negotiation process to shape the majestic mountain for the people and planet, for the planet and humanity. Good news is that loss and damage has included in COP27 process. Vulnerable ecosystem like mountain and urgency to speed up the negotiation of final mechanism at Warsaw International Mechanism for Loss and Damage. So Warsaw International Mechanism for Loss and Damage is in place. It was endorsed by COP19 in 2013. So that helps to discuss loss and damage quickly forward. It is also important to note that many initiatives have been taken to inclusion the mountain in multilateral, multi-environmental negotiation process. For example, the partnership is also doing very good job that in the Nairobi working program, in the 56th session of the SAPSTA in June 22, the inclusion of mountain in a key draft decision recommended by the SAPSTA on matter relating to science and review, research and systematic observation for consideration and adoption by the COP. So mountain partnership is doing very good job to put mountain agenda forward. Today we are gathered here to discuss and consideration on how to achieve the political support for mountain within the UNFCCC process at COP and other works programs. So our key agenda is how we are contributing to put mountain agenda forefront in the global negotiation process, particularly COP. For upcoming COP, we are planning to include this agenda into main discourse or into main agenda. So this is the objective today. So we have to move in such a way that our discussion will move in that process. So with this, I would like to conclude my opening remarks, and maybe we'll discuss about the agenda and with the panelists. So I'd like to open with this, and then maybe I have to go there to discuss further matter. So thank you very much. So first round we'll start with the remarks. You have open idea or how you are contributing for the sustainable mountain development from your country or globally, how you are contributing. So I would like to invite distinguished panelist Elena Manaenkova. She is the Deputy Secretary General of UNWMO, for her special remark, technical remark, particular remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me well? Yeah? Yes? I can, okay, much better. Thank you very much. So I really don't know where to start because this whole COP27 WMO was very preoccupied with cryosphere. And it's not the first year WMO is concerned with cryosphere, but the first year we started seeing effects which are killing thousands of people, displacing 500 million of population, and flooding 10% of the country. I'm in Pakistan. So the story of Pakistan this year was really heartbreaking for us. And this is a beginning of something which may start affecting people in other mountain areas. Why this happens? Because climate change affects mountains in a greater extent than the rest of the planet or some other places on the planet. Because of warming, mountains, glaciers do not survive and they melt with the racing speed. The speed doubled since 1990, and according to our IPCC, very few mountains will survive whatever scenario of mitigation would be adopted and whatever temperature would be reached. Which means that we still have some time to think carefully how we protect the mountain environments, how we help people downstream living in the mountain areas and downstream down the oceans, because mountains melt also generate sea level rise, which is doubling. So there is a cascading effect from what happens in the mountains down to the islands and coastal areas. Risks are higher and higher. It's been not long ago when WMO convened High Mountain Summit. We had thousands of experts from most renowned institutions dealing with mountains and cryosphere. We were very happy doing that because it was really a culmination of our work on the mountains and cryosphere in the high altitudes. And we have come up with a call for action, and I'm very happy to review this call before this meeting and to see that many things which we call upon or we promise to do are happening. The Year of Mountains 2022 was one of those calls. So I don't say it's thanks to our summit, but I say that I see things happening indeed. But what we really decided to do is to prioritize disaster risk early warning systems in the mountain community and downstream, and to prioritize integration of mountain cryosphere in water cycle, in water management, and in different kinds of services. And this is happening as well. Already in this scope, I think I hope most of you have heard and are aware of the initiative of Secretary General Guterres, Early Warnings for All. This is pretty much because our strong call that we just cannot wait longer, that half of the population on the planet do not have early warning system. And mountains community are making a big part of this plan. So we're trying to take care of the risks in these areas in the priority way through this initiative in particular. Secondly, we are launching extensively the water resource agenda here, because nobody has in the world the proper and accurate and complete information of the distribution and change in distribution of water resources in the world. And we know that mountains are our water towers. They are water towers of the planet, and half of the population depend on the water coming from the mountains. Switzerland alone, this summer, lost 6% of glaciers just in 1 month, July to August. 1 month, very hot weather, 6% gone. There were no water in the rivers all across Europe. And this was unprecedented. Transport was not working, drinking water was not available, and that was happening now. So we really need to think strategically how we protect this and how we preserve the resources which are available. And maybe the other point I'd like to mention is that from an operational side, of course, World Meteorological Organization is normative organizations, pretty much operational. We're doing weather forecasts and climate predictions all across the planet. All the countries are relying on our common system, and it's public good systems. So all we receive from different countries gets exchanged with everyone else, both data and the products. So we are the ones who are famous in having unified data policy. This is mandatory, compulsory to the member states to exchange information. And we are the ones who are driving essential climate variables, which are very much recognized in the UNFCCC. So cryosphere in the mountains is one of the essential climate variable, which is very precious. And we have a means and powers to legislate exchange of information in a free and unrestricted way. So there are all other important projects and ideas which I have in my mind, but I don't want to really give you all together everything. So most important, early warnings, risks are very high, important to prioritize mountain areas. Secondly, glaciers are melting very fast and they will be gone by 2050, most of them, very few would remain. So we need to find a way to preserve water resources and to adapt to the situation when they will be distributed differently. And thirdly, exchange of information is key. If we sit on the data and the research community and operational community cannot get access to this, it has no sense, no meaning, no value. So probably I will just start with these three things.
So thank you, Elena, for your very invaluable remarks, particularly on WMO strategy plan and also data and cryosphere and how you are planning to work on early warning system. So thank you for that. And I would like to invite Mark Rossell, Government of Andorra, he's the Secretary of State for Agriculture and Sustainable Government of Andorra, for your very comprehensive remarks.
Thank you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, good afternoon. I would like to start by highlighting the utmost important to mark this 27th COP on the occasion of the International Years of Sustainable Mountain Development, with a strong commitment toward a fragile mountains territory and biodiversity. For this reason, it's a pleasure for Andorra to co-organize this side event together with our dear colleagues from KIRDARC, Nepal, Kyrgyzstan, and under the framework of Mountain Partnership. Andorra strongly believes in the alliance of partners that have the aim to improve the life of the mountain people and protecting environment around the world, and we're actively seeking to include the ecosystems of mountain and their vulnerability to climate change on the United Nations agenda. Such is the case that Andorra has very recently participated in the 60th global meeting at the Aspen Institute of Colorado, USA, where we adopt the Aspen Declaration, and where we were honored for having been appointed as the representative of the European region of the steering committee of the FAO Mountain Partnership. Recalling that commitment, it has been a pleasure for my country to have organized this same morning the ministerial meeting on action to mitigate climate change on mountain regions, during which we took the opportunity to start building momentum and give mountains the importance they deserve. Together, we're defining a roadmap for strengthening climate action in mountains for the upcoming COP. Considering that, in our case, the Pyrenees, but mountain territories in general, cover the territory of multiple countries, regional cooperation is essential to effectively implement the 2030 agenda. At the regional level, Andorra works closely with the working community of the Pyrenees and the Pyrenean Climate Change Observatory, which are our reference of knowledge transfer and information dissemination on impacts, vulnerability, and adaptation initiative in the Pyrenees. As you may already know, Andorra is a mountainous country enclosed in the Pyrenees, where local communities are facing challenge to promote sustainability development due to the effects of climate change that they are already perceptible. Mountain ecosystems like ours has been identified by the IPCC among the most vulnerable to climate change, as temperature evolves faster in this region, and it's expected that these climate variations will have consequences on our ecosystems and also on our economic activities. In this sense, we cannot lose sight of the economic and social importance of the mountain tourism in our country, especially during the winter season when the ski resorts are the main attraction. As this activity is closely linked to the evolution of the climate, the increase in the temperatures forces us to rethink the basis of our economy for the decades to come. There are negative effects for a country whose main attractions are natural landscape and biodiversity, and therefore This put us in an extremely vulnerable position, which is why Andorra is making an urgent and decisive commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emission and increase adaptation and resilience through nature-based solutions, joining forces with locals, stakeholders, and fostering international partnerships. Indeed, the stronger and wider the commitment is, the most impact it will have. This COP27 is the start point of this process, and the ministerial meeting held this morning and this side event are the first step. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark Rossell, for your very invaluable inside view. And you also organized this morning a ministerial meeting. So there was very important discussion with the 15 countries participated, as I know. So thank you for your invaluable inputs. So I'd like to invite Claudio Javier for your important remarks.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate the invitation to participate in this meeting, together with important representatives of friendly nations with which we share our interest and concern for the well-being of the communities that live in mountainous regions. I acknowledge FAO's commitment to promoting this agenda through the organization's support for the Mountain Partnership. The partnership, which seeks to promote sustainable development in the mountains through synergies between public and private sector, has become a fundamental mechanism to promote better management and preservation of ecosystems. The partnership strategic action is even more significant when we consider that 70% of the world's fresh water comes from mountain regions. Argentina especially values that one of the purposes of the mountain partnerships is to empower and allow mountain peoples to fully participate in the decision-making processes that determine the future of their communities and ecosystem, in particular vis-à-vis the challenges imposed by global change and globalization processes. A more effective globalization is one that pays attention to the particularities of each community and can thus better represent their interest. I believe that the frank and coordinated dialogue between representatives of various regions, as is the purpose of this meeting, is the way to seek among our governments and civil societies ways to increase greater political support for the conservation and restoration of the resources of the mountains and their populations, particularly those most vulnerable. The question of the sustainability of mountain regions is even more crucial due to its close link with the two fundamental issues of our time, such as the preservation of biodiversity and the fight against the harmful effects of climate change. We note that at each conference of the parties of climate change, the link between this issue and the sustainability of mountains region occupies a space of greater visibility, and we hope to keep this trend going. Indeed, climate change affects the world's mountains regions, jeopardizing the services they provide, such as drinking water supply, hydroelectric power generation, agriculture suitability, and the rich biodiversity they house. The availability of concrete and verified data represents an additional challenge. In any case, mountain community development policies should be part of the international debate more often, as they are essential for global development. Scientific reports increasingly link environmental phenomena and their relationship to development. We cannot isolate the issue of climate change and biodiversity loss. We need to have a systemic and multidisciplinary approach that includes the economic, social, cultural, and human rights level mountains region and their communities constitute fragile ecosystems that require protection and recognition of the services they provide. In conclusion, I believe that we must continue working together, governments and private sector, with a common objective to achieve sustainable development of mountain regions, of their communities, learning from diverse knowledge, good practices, experience of its various members, promoting concrete innovation initiatives to preserve mountain communities in order to improve their quality of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claudio, for your very insightful presentation and remarks. You mentioned many things about the climate change and impact of climate change, also give the direction how we can mitigate and adopt the climate change in participation of many stakeholders. So thank you very much for your remarks. And now I would like to invite Livio Espada Vecchia, Councillor, Government of Italy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, thanks a lot. Well, dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear members of Mountain Partnership, I want to convey first of all my appreciation to the Secretariat of Mountain Partnership for calling and setting up this meeting. This was the third side event in this COP27, which together the excellent initiative of the government of Andorra, calling for a meeting, a ministerial informal meeting this morning, are really raising the attention towards mountains, towards mountain partnership from a higher level, from the global level of COP27. So thanks a lot for this great job and building momentum for mountains, because we really were expecting for this. We're waiting for this. We have been mentioning that mountains are the water towers of the world, and more than half of humanity relies on mountain fresh water for everyday life. We know that the current pace, depth, and scope of adaptation is insufficient to address future climate risks in mountain regions. The need for mitigation and adaptation to address key risks in mountains is becoming increasingly urgent. As we mentioned this evening, today, we need to find ways, we need to change pace. In order to materialize all the things we are talking about, because the risk is that we keep mentioning risks and things happening all over the world, but we do not give a shape to this wish to materialize our need. This year is the International Year of Sustainable Development for Mountain. We must take advantage of this. And indeed, with the declaration of Aspen last September, this was a statement to promote cooperation among mountain countries. But this cooperation must be substantial, must be translated in something concrete. That's why a roadmap for action ahead of COP28 is necessary. In particular, how to involve the upcoming COP presidency of the United Arab Emirates concerning mountains. It's not an easy job. And coordinate and promote participation of the different stakeholders. It's not an easy job, but we want to try. The strategy, the way we found, we proposed, we talked about this morning, was to join as Mountain Partnership the Egypt initiative launched a few days ago concerning water, because mountains, water, snow are all topics strictly associated also in the resolution which exactly in these days is going to be approved at the Assembly General of the United Nations, which many times makes a clear reference to the Water Conference of the United Nations in March 23, which makes a clear reference to the ecosystem, the mountain ecosystems, which are vital for the supply of water, for drinkable water. So mountains means water, mountain means sky. If we join this initiative, we would be fully present as a subject, official subject, as the Water Conference in March 23, and this would pave the way to participate to the plenary of the COP 28. This is an idea. My suggestion was to explore how to get in touch, how to join, how to participate in this initiative in the next few weeks or days. And at the next steering committee of the Mountain Partnership, which will be held early in December, we can have a discussion, a frank discussion, if this is an opportunity or not. I think yes, but we will discuss about that. Certainly, the presence with us this evening of Madam Elena Manenkova, which is Deputy Secretary General of the World Meteorological Association, which is entitled to manage this initiative, is a great opportunity. We must take advantage of this. We will try to do our best. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Livio, for your very important remarks, and you mentioned that to establish a roadmap for action ahead of UNFCCC for COP28, particularly to include mountain in upcoming UNFCCC COP28 presidency. So this is our very important direction for future. So I would like to thank for your very invaluable remarks. I don't see Nurlan is here. No, is he here? Nurlan is here from, yeah, he's here, okay. I will invite Nurlan at Murazab. He's the special envoy of presidency of Kyrgyz Republic. Oh, he is here, definitely. He must be here. Kyrgyzstan is the pioneer. So Kyrgyzstan initiated to include International Sustainable Mountain Year 2022. So sorry, I forget. So I would invite him for his very invaluable and insightful remarks. Nurlan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Okay. It's okay? Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Pam Kendall, dear Excellencies, Mountain Partnership members, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the government of Andorra for convening the ministerial discussion earlier today dedicated to promoting more ambitious climate actions to mountain regions and strengthening ways to work together. I would also like to convey my appreciation to the Mountain Partnership Secretariat for supporting and enabling the presence of so many high-level speakers to highlight mountain issues here in Egypt. We hope dialogues like this will continue and spur action on an international level to advance sustainable mountain development, particularly since this year, as the proposal of the Kyrgyz Republic was declared by the United Nations as the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development. This year has provided unique opportunities to catalyze global action and recognize the need to enhance international cooperation in mountain regions. An example of this was the 6th global meeting of the Mountain Partnership held in Aspen. An outcome of this meeting was the Aspen Declaration, which promotes cooperation among mountains countries on a wide range of issues, including the economy, social development, environment, culture, science, and education, as well as the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Another milestone during this important year is the proposal of the initiative 5 years of action for the development of mountain regions by the Kyrgyz Republic from 2023-2027 to implement sustainable mountain development and outlining how governments can work together across different levels, both nationally and internationally, to promote cooperation and to strengthen their international weight as a recognized group. During the current United Nations 77 session, the Kyrgyz side is promoting the initiative, which is included in the draft of resolution Sustainable Mountain Development. In this regard, we count on the member states' valuable support and co-sponsor of the draft resolution and participate in its implementation. Allow me to briefly outline the main points of the quinquennium. The 4 main points are: to create and implement a development fund for mountain countries, to develop the set of special programs of the United Nations, to institutionalize the existing group of friends of mountain countries in New York, and to establish a global mountain university to increase education on this subject area. For successfully implement this plan, we must recognize that the benefits derived from mountain regions are essential for sustainable development, and that mountain ecosystems play a crucial role in providing water and other essential resources and services to a large portion of the world population. Despite some progress, environmental degradation and exposure to the risk of disasters is still increasing. It is clear from science-based research that high-altitude ecosystem services need greater protection and adaptation measures. We are running out of time, and we need to initiate transformative actions for building the resilience of mountain people and the protection of mountain ecosystems. Within the framework of the UNFCCC and COPS processes, we need that governments to join forces. Under the framework of the Mountain Partnership, for bringing mountains into plenary discussions, we need to ensure that together we define a roadmap for the upcoming COPs, and in particular to have a final roadmap to be presented at COP 28. As it well known, Kyrgyz Republic established jointly with Afghanistan, Armenia, and Tajikistan the group of mountainous landlocked countries within the UNFCCC. We would like to propose to open up this group to all UNFCCC countries that recognize the key role played by mountains for our life on Earth. We stand ready to modify the name of the group to make it more inclusive, as it could serve to promote our action. We hope discussions such as the ministerial meeting earlier today and side events such as this can advance support to mountains and enhance existing regional mechanisms and agreements. Thank you again to to the government of Andorra for convening this important action. We look forward to working with you to build momentum for mountains. Many thanks.
Thank you very much, Nurlan, for your very insightful remarks. Actually, we have to, give big hand for government of Kyrgyzstan Republic because of their effort. This year, we are managing to celebrate the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development. Kyrgyz Republic proposed this proposal in the UN system, then it endorsed by 94 countries. So, thank you for your effort. You are really institutionalizing the mountain issue inside also by formulating many strategy plan and plan of action. So you are doing inside the country and also pushing this issue for the global discourse. So thank you very much for your great effort. So now I would like to invite Gertrude Kambawa, Government of Malawi. She is the Director of the Department of Land Resource, Ministry of Agriculture. So for her very remarkable remarks, thank you.
Thank you very much, Moderator, Excellencies, and all protocols observed. Let me start by registering apologies from the Minister, Honorable Nkaka, who was supposed to be here with you this evening, but because he's also occupied in another event, that is why he was not able to come. The issue of mountains, let me also thank the International Mountain Partnership Secretariat for inviting Malawi to be part of this event. In Malawi, the issue of mountains in the context that has been presented and the partnership is something new in the sense that we never looked at mountains the way we are now, especially after being involved in activities with the mountain partnerships. So mostly in Malawi, our mountains are covered with forests and they are reserves. And for that reason, there are areas where the access to resources from the mountains is protected. But over time, due to population pressure, we've noted that there is pressure to even cause deforestation in those reserves. And as such, with the work that we have now started with the partnerships, the mountain partnership, we are now looking at how we can protect the mountains because of the importance that they have in our country. You have noted that I'm coming from the Ministry of Agriculture, but ordinarily we are coordinating this partnership in Malawi, but ordinarily it should have been under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Climate Change, from where the minister is coming from. But we realize that the issue of mountains, which is also part of our catchments, is affecting agriculture production because of the degradation issues that we are facing in the country. As a result, we've come up with a framework to combat the degradation that is taking place. The issues of climate change have impacted the agriculture sector very greatly. And as such, our interest from the agriculture sector is to just ensure that the mountains are protected from a catchment perspective. And that is why we are promoting integrated watershed management. And that is, in a way, covering the issue of mountains. Now, like I've mentioned, that we are in the Ministry of Agriculture, and the Ministry of Natural Resources is the rightful institution to host this kind of partnership in the country. So what we have decided to do is to work together with all the relevant ministries that are handling issues of mountains. And this is all the ministries that deal with issues of the environment and natural resource management in the country. And that is where we come together with the coordination from the Ministry of Agriculture because of our interest in land resource management. Now, in order to harness the synergies that are there, we have noted that we need to come up with a national strategy on mountains. the issue of mountains being a catchment or a watershed is already covered in many of the other ministries. For example, the Department of Water Resources in our country, which looks at the catchments, the Department of Forestry, which also looks at the reserves that most of them are in the mountains, and the Ministry of Tourism, because for mountains, much of the work, activities that are happening around mountains is on tourism, where we have so many tourists coming to visit our mountains in the country. So we're looking at how we can strengthen the synergies that are across the different ministries in Malawi to ensure that we have a coordinated approach in protecting our mountains. So this evening, I just want to share with you what we are doing based on the framework that has been provided by the partnership that we at the local level, because it's a new area in our country, and we thought together we should understand what or how we can address the issues of mountains. We believe that we can do that by coming up with a framework that will guide the work that each of the ministries that I've talked about is involved in. So that is the plan that we have to ensure that we protect the ecosystems for the sake of the water resources that we need more in our agriculture sector, but also for biodiversity conservation. And we see that there are going to be so many benefits if we come up with a framework that will help our country to conserve our mountains. But I recognize that this event has been organized in the context of the COPs, where we're talking about climate change and how the mountains come in terms of the sustainable mountain management, so that we can contribute to the dialogue and action on climate change. So at this point, let me just indicate that we have already done some activities in terms of just increasing awareness in Malawi among the communities. I'm aware that each one of us in this room are aware that the commemoration takes place in December. And for the past 3 years, we've been commemorating, and our events have been graced with the high-level participation of the ministers of the different ministries that I've talked about. And this year, being the year of the International Year of Mountains, we're also planning to have the event in December. But this time, because we have noted the gap in the knowledge about mountains, we would like to engage our stakeholders in sharing with them information about mountains. So as we'll be looking at the development of the strategy, we also just want to bring more information and understanding to the issue of mountains in the context that the Mountain Partnership understands the work about mountains. So this is what I can share with you about what we're doing in Malawi in terms of mountains. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much from Malawi. So I think we have completed the first remarks. You have given very insightful and very invaluable remarks that helps to move mountain issue forward, because we are talking about the sustainable mountain development, and this year we are celebrating the sustainable year of International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, and we are also talking about the roadmap for action that we can bring this mountain agenda for the global discourse, particularly within the UN system, particularly in upcoming COP28. I think I would like to request these common questions. How you think that roadmap, how we can formulate, and what would be the mechanism, networking, and how it can work in the ground. So because we are talking about the roadmap. So maybe it requires some mechanism within the Global Mountain Partnership or other alliance that you have mentioned. Within the country, we need some political commitment. This morning also this issue was raised. So maybe this is open question. I would like to request to particularly Elena and also Andorra. This is very particular question. So, and also of course Italy. So I will start with Elena, that how we can move this important mountain agenda. Because you know the mountain is a very big area, comprises 22% of the global area. So it is not in that much priority under the UN system. We have the global mountain global partnership, but that is very loose institution, loose organization. We think that it should be different ecosystem like other mechanism. So this is very important. I would like to start with Elena, because you are working under that UN system.
Yeah, I think I'm the right person to talk about mechanisms, but I honestly like to speak about real projects and actions, because we do so many mechanisms, and we always like to see what happens on the ground. So of course, intergovernmental agency, the main power is convening power. And to be very honest, I struggle to think of what other mechanism I need to implement what I highlighted in the beginning. So we do have global technical commissions where mountain experts are not enough, but this is our job to find them and to involve them. We do have globally organized scientific research about cryosphere, but not about the mountains, but I believe that exists somewhere else. We have brought together all most known, renowned organizations working in the mountain area, including Mountain Partnership, and we have come up with this call for action, and I think and I know that all of us are doing our part. We just were a little bit not reconvening during the pandemic. So this exists. I think the will and the partnership is there. And the countries who hold mountains are just that many. I mean, we know them all. And they're all in the different conditions. I don't think we really need to concentrate on creating mechanisms. We need to keep going, because we know what we need. So I liked very much comments of Lavo about coming to the water conference. I think we have to hurry up a lot, because we have already milestones in front of us. This COP, for instance, again, I'm talking about my agenda, which is everything actually about climate change, all right? So we have come up with the early warning for all. Next scope will request a report from what we have done. So we have 1 year to do. So I already announced in the beginning that we will prioritize mountains. So if we will not come to COP28 with some tangible results in mountains and for mountains, you will throw stones in us. So I take a promise, I commit. Secondly, I told you that we need global data. In 2 weeks, and actually in 1 week, we are releasing first ever WMO report on water resources. This is done with the help of models we have and space observations. We have special satellite group which looks on the mountains, because we do not have a way and means to receive information from the ground. Sometimes it doesn't exist, sometimes it's restricted exchange. So if any one of our partners can contribute to this report from the ground, it would be hugely, hugely helpful. And last thing we need from the partners and partnerships is that we need to reach out to all sorts of users of all sorts of information which are vulnerable right now in the mountains. While our colleagues were talking, I was continued reading IPCC insights, and I found out that Pyrenees are going to disappear in few decades, they say. I'm very sorry for Andorra, but we still have time to, and that's where I learned my mountain skiing. My first ski session was in Pyrenees in Andorra. So I don't want it to disappear, but it's nothing I can do. But what I can do is to really quickly put together a plan of action for adaptation and resilience. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. So I'd like to repeat the same question to Andorra, because Andorra is increasing very political support and also doing the network that mountain issues should be put forward from the present status, or present context. So would you like to say something about what is your in mind that new roadmap? We are talking about the new roadmap for action at the UN Convention and for the next COP28 in Dubai. Maybe Andorra.
Thank you. Sure, we have to define the roadmap together for strengthening climate change in mountain at the upcoming COPs. Maybe it's possible to call to our national experts, focal points, as well as secretariats of convention, related to mountains issue to meet and explore synergies with the aim to present the final roadmap during the next COP. Andorra, last week, our head of government mentions the importance to increase the ambition of protection of mountains in his statement at World Leadership Summit. We will continue including a specific mention of mountains in our national determination contribution and NIP as well. I think it's important to continue promoting the participation at side events like today, we want to send a letter addressed to the Secretariat of UNFCCC to inform them about the meeting of the morning and the intention to make more for the mountains, for people of the mountains, for biodiversity, for ecosystems. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark Rossell, for your great idea. And I would like to also repeat the same question to Claudio, because you know you have also Indian initiative, Mountain Indian initiative. So how you think that this line will be collaborated for the same agenda and also with the mountain? He left? Oh, okay, sorry, he left. Italy is sharing the Global Mountain Partnership. So Italy is the key to bring or to put this issue forward. So he raised many issues about the new roadmap. Maybe he can suggest that how that roadmap can work and what type of roadmap you are thinking in your mind. So your suggestion would be great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, as a matter of fact, when mountains are protected, when mountains are recognized in their specificity, it's because of national laws. It's because our government built up infrastructures, digital or physical infrastructures, recognize an administrative peculiar regulations concerning education, concerning so many things. But all this takes place at a national level. How to convince, how to stimulate governments to adopt these regulations, bringing mountains to the forefront by leveraging the International Year of Mountains. Absolutely agree. That's why we are here today. And how to bring mountains to the forefront? Well, in my experience, in my short experience in the Mountain Partnership, I noticed that when we launched some substantial projects concerning food security, concerning land degradation, they had success. People went to these sessions with enthusiasm. They participated in a proactive way. They were also able to attract investors. The UNDP joined with the substantial funding as well. So practical activities. Practical activities as an example that we are doing something real. We are not just spending our time renewing the words concerning about risks, we are doing something constructive to help mountain, to help the communities living in the mountains, to help natural resources of mountains. In this sense, joining this initiative of Egypt gives us the opportunity also to formulate from now on, in the next few weeks or months, projects, because it's up to us what to put inside this box, because the initiative is just an empty box as far as I understand. It's up to the governments, up to the participants to put some specific activity concerning whatever, from mitigation to adaptation or to simple funding in the framework of an official global context, which can lead us to open the door of the COP28. This is an idea to be better matured, to be better formulated, that we are going to discuss as soon as possible within the steering committee. But this is the point that I think now is to follow. And to follow also carefully, because if now we are doing all what we can to build momentum, to build up momentum on mountains, we should not lose this opportunity, because we cannot carry on for 2 years repeating that we are building momentum. Yes, we built momentum, but now we need to materialize also, because otherwise the risk is that people get away disappointed from these sessions where we keep saying more or less the same things. We said, people understood the sessions we did in these past few days and in this morning were absolutely well participated. So the attention there is. We need to translate this attention into facts that which can open really and officially the ways, the doors of the COP28, and which take us and our governments to do more for mountains, because also discussing mountains in a context so much important like the COP28 or COP27 as well is not enough. What is really enough is that government do what their job to really protect and promote the mountain communities, mountain territories, mountain natural resources. But to make our governments do this, we must create a framework of regulations, of code of conduct, whatever, in which to stimulate them to adopt stringent rules to protect and promote mountains. To arrive to this step by step, the opportunity is not to lose the water conference of 2003. Thanks to the symbiosis I mentioned of mountains, snow means also outdoor activities, not just drought and whatever negative, means also enjoying life. So mountain, snow, and water. This is the idea. We should think about that. We should discuss that. We should implement a course of action in order to arrive to our goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Livio, for your very critical analysis and very positive roadmap. I would like to repeat the same question to Nurlan, the government of, he represents the government of Kyrgyz Republic, and what is in your mind that how we should move forward, because you are leading the mountain issue at a national and global level as well.
Yes, Mr. Chair. As it's our main goal for the moment, let me now announce some of our initiatives more widely to be implemented during the next 5 years. Number one, to institutionalize the existing group of friends of mountain countries in New York. Under this, we are proposing to establish consulting, executive, and administrative bodies of the group. In cooperation with the Mountain Partnership, we are now working on rules of procedures for these bodies. Once we finish, we will submit them for the kind consideration of the group of friends of mountain countries. We hope the members of the group will enrich and support it. After institutionalization, we will proposed to widen the group of friends, inviting mountain partnership members to join it. Number two, to establish the development fund for mountain countries. We call upon relevant UN bodies to develop profitable investment projects as well as grant projects which will allow us to significantly strengthen the mutually beneficial cooperation among mountain countries. We invite international financial institutions to invest in establishing the development fund for the mountain countries. Number three, to develop the set of special programs of the United Nations in such areas as preservation of mountain forests, preventing disaster risk in mountain regions, strengthening integration of mountain regions and countries into international trade, increasing access of mountain regions to innovations, advanced technologies and sustainable energy, promoting history, culture, and nature of mountain people and regions. We urge mountain countries and UN bodies that have relevant mandate and expertise to support these initiatives. Number four, to establish a global mountain university with a network of specialized institutes. Such an university may serve both as research and educational establishment. These are only the initiatives of Kyrgyz Republic. The 5 years of action is not limited to them. We designed its concept in a way to let everyone propose their initiatives and start promoting them jointly basis. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Gertrude, do you like to tell something? Do you have anything in mind, maybe?
Thank you very much, Chair. Well, like I've explained, that in our case, what we are doing is to domesticate the framework that is at the global level, and it's a new area that we have ventured into. So what we are going to be doing would be to look at what we have from the global level framework, which can be domesticated to suit our country position. At the moment, like I've mentioned, we are thinking of coming up with a strategy that will help to provide a framework that will help the sectors that are involved in issues of mountains in Malawi to come together and have a point of reference in terms of how we go forward to manage our mountain ecosystems. Of course, I think, like I've also indicated, since we are learning it in the context of this partnership, there are a number of areas that we've already identified. For example, the stakeholders, although their focus has been on tourism, but also the other benefits, for example, in terms of food security, we have in the mountains trees that provide indigenous fruits, for example, but we also can do beekeeping for livelihood interventions. There are a number of areas that we can look into while engaging our stakeholders. So those things are the ones that will come into our strategy, the framing that I'm talking about, so that each of our stakeholders can see how together we can promote the issue of mountains in Malawi. So this is what I can share for now, but going forward, definitely we'll be looking forward to the experiences, to learn from the experiences from the other countries that have advanced in issues pertaining to mountains, but also joining everyone on the journey to making sure that mountains are protected, but also being a source of livelihood for the communities that benefit from the mountains. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the panelists. with this discussion, I would like to conclude this, discussion here, but I would like to tell something because in today's meeting, we discussed about the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development and progress that we have made at national and international level, because this is really catalyzing the mountain issues, agenda and opportunity for the global discourse. So that is very important. We must like to, I like to thanks to the particularly Kyrgyz Republic who raised these issues. So another important issue we discussed about the impact of climate change, how mountains are vulnerable because of the climate change. So that issue has also been discussed, and we share the view about how to achieve political support for mountain at UNFCCC COP and another international agreement with a particular focus on how to bring mountain into the plenary discussion of future UNFCCC COP within the framework of mountain partnership Aspen declaration and how this lead to action. So this is also another matter of discussion, particularly from the Italy. This issue has been greatly raised. So we discuss also about the new roadmap for action at the UN Convention and the next COP 28 in Dubai. So our discussion on bringing mountains to the forefront by leveraging the International Year of Mountains is very fruitful and very insightful. I would say that very effective, very result-oriented. So in this context, our global mountain partnership can coordinate the rest of the matter, because countries and minister, they are doing for their political commitment, for support, for networking. So mountain partnership represents to coordinate to this all matter. Maybe I would suggest that maybe other panelists and other member nations are also supporting for bringing this issue in forefront. So next roadmap, I think, would be formulated by mountain partnership to move forward. So we have very great commitment to take this mountain issue forward. So there is no any issues. So let us do such a way that next COP will be the mountain COP. We'll include this agenda for the plenary. Yeah, that would be our target. That should be our goal. So Nepal is very firmly committed. We are doing a lot inside and outside, no doubt. Yesterday, day before yesterday, I made a country statement. I mentioned many things about the mountain from the plenary, from the high-level segment. So Nepal is very firmly committed and leading with other countries like Kyrgyzstan and also Italy, Andorra, other countries, they are leading. So there is no any confusion. And let us take this agenda forward. And again, I would like to thanks to panelists and other supportive. Nepal is also here. We are vice chair. Nepal is vice chair of the Global Mountain Partnership. So I would like to thank International Year because of the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, we are doing a lot. So I would like to thank organizer, so participant, distinguished delegates, you are giving time for this evening. So with this, I would like to conclude this session here. Thank you. I thank you all. Thank you. We have to take a photo, yeah.